going to be talking about how I take notes. First, I would like to start off and show you my notebook. I write all of my notes in this notebook. I like it because it keeps everything in one place and it keeps it very organized because it is split into sections. So for example, this first section is for my international studies class. I have all my notes kept in here along with group projects and other handouts that my professor gives me. The next section is math. I have all my quizzes in this pocket and all my math notes in this pocket. So I have everything I need to study for in math in one place. And then I have German. And then the rest of the notebook is used for miscellaneous note-taking. Firstly, I want to talk about how I decide to take notes. When I'm in class, either in lecture or recitation or any other type of class, I like to get as much information down as possible. So, for example, in my international studies class, it is lecture-based, and my professor talks, while in addition to that, he uses a PowerPoint. So not only do I try to write down everything in the PowerPoint, but I try to write down the specific things that my professor says as well. So, for example, these are what my international studies class notes look like. They are very compact, and it's all written down using letters and words, not as many numbers. However, as you can see here, I use bullet points and numbers to organize my notes as well. Additionally, my professor talks very fast, and it is a lot of reading-based work that we have to do. So I take notes on my reading as well. And I always like to write my notes that I take on reading in pen and in a different color. That way, I know what notes I take in class and what notes I take on the reading homework that we have. So these notes are written in blue pen. On the next page, I have my lecture notes so that they're easy to identify and I can see where I get my information from. Moving on, math class is different. This is an example of my math notes. They're very spread out, they're not compact at all, and they use all numbers. Math is one of my difficult subjects, so I try to make my notes as easy as possible. So when I need to return to look and see how to read them, it's easy for me to find specific subjects. So I like to have specific headers here. This is Math Recitation 3.3, so I can easily find, oh, where are my 3.3 notes? This is another example of that as well. Very spaced out, easy to read, and easy to understand for me, because math is not an easy subject for me, so I like to make my notes in that class as readable and easy as possible. Additionally, for me specifically, I learn a lot through reading. So sometimes when I use my math notes, I like to write notes to myself to help me remind myself what happens when, what I need to do here. So this is an example here. I write a little note to myself about what a certain coefficient means or what's the next step in a problem. So, of course, international studies and math are two very different subjects, so I have to write very different notes for both of them. And I like to organize my notes chronologically, so I like to go in order of how I learn them, so I can build on different steps in the different information that I learned. I like to keep everything in a specific order based on time and when I learned them. And I often number them. I use bullet points. I use the pretty straightforward but traditional way of taking notes. And I believe my notes help me learn because I have been developing my specific way of taking notes for a very long time. They're specific to me. They're easy to read for me. And it's the best way for me to get as much information I can in a short amount of time. And they help me learn because I've been writing notes the same way for a very long time, and I know it works for me. And that is how I take notes.